Hello everyone, welcome back to Dynamic Forms Studio. I'm Leandro and today we're going to talk about painting. Um, the model in question here will be Ultraman, the white statue over there on your on the left of the screen. Right now you see He-Man in the center. It's because I just wanted to show real quick my latest painting job. This was real fun to do. It was all done with brushes and acrylic paint. So I just wanted to show a little bit of this paint work, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into painting the Ultraman kit. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. So I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see a little bit what I did. I paint this whole statue. It's like a 1/5 scale. So I paint the sword, like the whole character over there, the base. I wanted to do something nostalgic that would resemble the 80s cartoon. Hopefully I did justice to it. Let me just go ahead and zoom in so we can see a little bit of his face. Sorry, my camera is not the best, but I'll try to show you guys a little close up of what I did. So there's He-Man. This was a lot of fun to paint and do. Here's like his hands, the sword. I'm going to show you real quick. Okay, so this was all done with brushes and acrylic paint. There was no airbrush. I do not use airbrush, so let me just zoom out a little bit here so you can see. So I think this came out pretty cool. Like, that's kind of the way I wanted this sculpture to look like at the end. So resembling the 80s cartoon. So you can kind of guide yourself and see if this is something you're looking for to get this kind of finish or kind of look. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove He-Man out of the picture real quick, and we're gonna go talk about Ultraman. All right, let me put him on the camera here for us. So it'll be these two guys right here. And here are the bases. Okay, so I'm going to be painting this kit on camera, showing you guys how I do it. I have a picture here in the corner. If you look there on the corner, I have a picture on the screen to use as a reference for color. If this is the first time you've seen this kit, this Ultraman kit, this was sculpted by me, was molded and cast by me. Everything was done by me. Sculpture, molding, casting, and now the final step, painting. I haven't had a chance to prime the bases, so let me show you real quick. So here's the bases for them. Okay, trying to make sure they don't fall, because I removed the pin that holds them in place. But that's just so you can have an idea. So I will later prime the base and paint it. I want to paint the figure to have a better idea what colors I should use for the base. I'm not sure yet, we'll see. But for the main figure, I would like to do pretty much what we saw on the 60s show. But before we go into painting, I would like to talk about the materials and what kind of paint I use, and that way you can have an idea of what you want to do and what you want to use. Cool? So let me get closer to them real quick with the camera, and then I'm going to bring to camera some of the things that I use. So the first thing that I did for this was to prime them, and I used this, sorry that they got a little bit of paint here. I have a different color that you can see which one it is. So this is the one that I like to use. It says there for plastic and metal. So this primer is really nice because it is thin and it doesn't build up on your details when you're spraying. So if you want colors to be bright and vibrant, I would recommend you spray your models with white primer. That will make your colors come to life. Some people will use this kind of primer. See, some off-brand, I don't even know. I used this once and I will never use this again for my models. It's just too sticky, too thick, and it didn't do well for my models. So If you want to use a primer for models, I wouldn't go with those regular primers that we buy at the store for regular work. I will go with something more specific, which will be these kind of primers that are made for models. Okay. I decided I'm going to paint both models at the same time because why not, right? Save time and work. So as you can see, there's a lot of different paint on my desk right now. I mean, a few different brands, right? So right here on our left, I went to the store and I found this one. It was very cheap, Master's Touch. So it was very cheap. It's not a bad paint. It's a good brand. It will leave you can see it's very vibrant, right? So I really liked it when I saw it. I'm like, okay, this could work. So I used this on my He-Man. Some of these collars here that you see on the table, I used on my He-Man, and it did the job. One thing that I didn't like about this paint is that it's very thick, and it will leave like this glossy. See this glossy that you see on the tube here? That's exactly what the paint dries like. When it dries, it gets really glossy. I guess that's not really a big problem, because when you finish your piece and you want to spray some lacquer, you can just use like the dull, and that's what I do. I just use like the dull coat, and then it will just take all the shiny away from your piece if that's not what you're looking for. Another similar brand was this one right here. Don't even know how to say that, but anyways, I'm just going to show you guys. It's very basic, and I bought like their basic kit at a hobby store, and it came with primary colors, so you can mix it up and come up with your own colors if you want to. Same thing, it works well, it does the job, but this one will definitely leave this glossy finish on your piece. So if you don't want that, you may have to spray it at the end with, again, a type of lacquer. And then this is the type of lacquer that I spray my pieces with once I'm done painting them all, just to finish the piece and bring it all together. So this is really nice to use once you're done painting your model. So what else do we have here? So this one right here is very interesting. So these are called cell vinyl paint, and you cannot find them anymore. Apparently the company that manufactures this paint went out of business. You can find them in the website, but they're not making them anymore, I've heard. See, I'm almost out of some of the colors. These paint, they're very, very nice. They're very vibrant and very vivid. I really like it. I went online to buy more, and then I found out that they're actually out of business. So the closest thing to this type of cell vinyl paint, one curiosity, if you can see here, the name of the company is Cartoon Color, right? Cartoon Color Company. So this was what they used to paint the cells for like cartoons that we watched on TV a few years ago. Maybe I should say many years ago. So in the past, they would just literally paint the cartoon with this kind of paint. So this is really cool. I really like this type of paint. It has a really nice pigment, and they're vibrant, and it comes out beautifully after you paint with these. But unfortunately you cannot buy those anymore, and then I've heard that you can replace them with Vallejo, which would be a nice brand to go with. So here's all of my Vallejo colors. Yeah, you don't probably need all these colors. You can buy a few and just mix them up, but I have a few here anyways. Let me show it up. So this one is supposed to be Carn Mate. So okay, so that was like Carne Mate, and then it's Flash, Flash. So I bought it to paint my He-Man with and try it out as well. So I really like these Vallejo. They also do they also emulate the way this paint here finishes. So I really like this brand. You can try that. But again, I'm just showing this variety of colors because, you know, you can just choose what it's more to your liking. It's what you prefer. I bought a few like containers because sometimes you don't go through all of it, and you can always store it and keep using. These are what do we call? They're acrylic, so you can just add some more water and then they dilute again. So that's nice. One thing about these little tubes, they're very small, and they say shake well before you use it. So what I ended up doing was, let me see here, get one that has a little. So what I ended up doing, let me show you guys. I'm trying to shake it here and see if you can hear it. It's very hard to hear, but I put a little, I bought one of those spheres. See, I went to the hardware store and I bought this little metal sphere here. I think it's nice because you can just put it inside your paint, and then when you shake it, it just mixes it all up for you. It's easier to shake it up. See if I have one here that you can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear, but so the other ones is just that the paint is a little dry, so you gotta shake it, but can you hear there? So you put a little sphere, metal sphere here, that way it helps you shake this paint. You don't need, see how small this container is? This is not the cheapest paint out there, but a little bit goes a long way, so you don't really need a huge container or a huge tube. Cool. So what you're gonna need is the paint of your preference, and these are some of the options that I have here. Oops, sorry about shaking the camera here. So these are some of the options that I have sitting on my desk right now. You're gonna need some brushes, of course. This is just a random assortment. This was very cheap. I mean, I guess I should say I have a few brushes that are for fine detail, very small fine detail, that I paid a little bit more money. But for the most part, any cheap set of brushes will do the job. So you don't need anything too expensive. You're gonna need a little bit of water. So I have 2 containers here with clean water. You're gonna need your palette right there, your paint, and oh, this right here. I want to show you guys this real quick. So this is very helpful to have too. So it's called, what do they call? It's flow medium. It's basically something to dilute your paint. So you're gonna use this in your mix, and you will make the paint a little bit more workable, let's say it that way. So it's very cheap. You don't need much. I use a few drops, and I'll show you, going to see me using it. So it's like a flow enhancer, let's say it. So if you can find a flow enhancer, any brand will do. I just happened to buy the Master Touch one. It works well for me. This is probably going to last forever because I use like 2 or 3 drops every time I'm using. So it's not a huge container, but it wasn't too expensive. So you want to get one of these just so you can have your paint flowing and you know, going through your model a little bit better. So let's see if I covered it all. So you need your clean water, your brushes, your paint of your choice. I already primed, and I have a video. If you haven't seen the video, you can watch prior to this video. I have a video where I was showing how I primed this Ultraman kit. The thing is, it was really windy, so it was hard to prime it outside. I had to finish in my garage if you watched the video, but here they are, and we're gonna get started. So since I'm gonna do one at a time, I'm just gonna bring one for now, and let's get started on this guy. This will be a very straightforward kind of paint job. If you look at my reference, see, it's like his silver and red. and then he has the light and the eyes. So for those, I think I'm gonna leave that for the last part of the job, painting the eyes and the and the light. I may look some references, find something that will give the illusion of being a, you know, some kind of glass that lights up on his chest. What else was I going to say? So we have our reference there in the corner for the colors, and then here's the colors that I can use. So I can use this silver one right here for the silver parts. So I can use this one, or let me put them down real quick so I just don't want it to fall. Or we can go here to the Vallejo options, and I have a few options here. I have my silver as well. Try to wait till it focus. So I have this silver one right here. So we can use that. And I also have like a light gray. So maybe we'll mix it up to see if it gives some texture, some makes it look cooler. I have a sky gray, which I don't think I'm gonna use it, but maybe, who knows. We'll leave it here for now. What else can we try to use on this? Let me see, I have a, no, gray blue will not do, but I do have this one right here, natural steel. So this may look like, see, it has a little shine to it. So hopefully it looks like steel, right? Natural steel. It looks like metal. Maybe I'll paint him with this guy. I don't know. Maybe it's too dark. It looks too dark to me. See, if we look at a reference there, he's not that dark. See? So I don't know. But maybe I can mix it up. Again, we'll see. We'll do some tests before we put any paint down on the model. Okay, as far as the red, I'm not even gonna mess with it. It's gonna be this guy right here, because it's just so pretty and it just comes out so nicely. It's just so bright. So we're gonna use this red. If I run out of it, then we're gonna go to the Vallejo and then maybe one of these other options here on the left. And so that's pretty much it. There's not much, again, like, there's not much to this model, to the painting work on it, because it's so basic. It's your silver and red for this model. So here's what we're gonna need so far. So let's put it down on the side here. So we're gonna use the flow enhancer, a few shades of gray and metal, and then red, or famous red. Cool. So one thing that you want to do when you start painting your model, you want to make sure you kind of do a little planning. Not much planning, but a little bit of planning wouldn't hurt. You just have to think that when you're painting it, you want your lighter colors first, because it'll be easier to fix it with the darker color. So the darker color will always cover your lighter color, not the other way around. Although you can always fix with some, you know, if you seal it, then you can always paint it over again. But, and we'll talk about that if we make any mistakes, which I'll probably do. But again, it would be pretty straightforward. Start with your lighter color first. I'm gonna leave, again, the eyes and the light on the chest for last. So we're gonna start with our silver and see what we can do here, well, how we can get this to work well. Let me get my chair. Sorry, I'm just doing everything. Holding the camera, holding the model, dealing with the paint. So I'm gonna try to leave this in an angle that you guys can see what I'm doing, okay? If you have any questions, you're welcome to write on the comments. If you enjoyed the video, at the end you feel like it was helpful, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. So okay, let's go ahead. Let me just fix the camera here real quick. I'm sorry again, guys. Keep messing around here. There you go. All right. So let me get my palette here. So what we're gonna do, push this way a little bit. Let's get there. So I have my water here. Oh, I forgot to mention, always have some like paper towel, just so you can, you know, rinse and clean your brush real quick if you need to. I'm not using any solvent to dissolve your paint. Like, you only use a little bit of solvent if you are cleaning your model, right? And one last thing that I forgot to show, I just saw here in the corner, is you want to use some varnish for the shiny, glossy finishes, like the eyes maybe, or the light. We can use this type of varnish, see, gloss varnish for the final. Okay, we may use this in a few areas. For the He-Man, I used it on the eyes, on the nails, and on the lips, like more of the wet, shiny parts. Metal, I mean like glass, or, you know, whatever you want shiny, you want to use a varnish. So we're gonna start with our I'm gonna leave my palette right here. I'm gonna try to use the camera on it so you can see. Okay, so we're gonna start. Let me make sure. I'm looking at my picture there on the corner, and look, I'm looking at that picture as a reference, and I think maybe this may be too light. This silver seems a little light. But then I have light gray, which is not silver. But just to be safe, as I said, you can always start with your light colors, because then you can go ahead and cover them with a darker gray. So I'm gonna start with the silver here. See how that comes out. And then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake it well first. Just have the camera here. See, there's a little sphere in there. So I'm gonna shake it well. Okay, I think that should do it. And then sometimes don't squeeze this too much, because it flows fast out of your bottle. So I'm just gonna use like somewhere here on my palette. Yeah, look, I'm gonna show you how much I just put down so you have an idea how much I'm using. See, it's not much at all. See, I just put down a little bit, and I think this gray may be the gray that I'm looking for this model. We'll see. Okay, now let's choose a brush. So again, this is just like a cheap assortment. We're gonna be doing some line work and some detailing with this model, because he has a lot of lines, as you can see there. See, there's like lines that we're gonna have to paint. The good thing is, when I was sculpting my piece, I sculpted the lines. So see right here, I already sculpted all the lines, and that will help me on the painting. So I'm not gonna have to go too crazy trying to figure out how I'm gonna match the paint job for the lines. I'm not gonna use any masking. A lot of people mask there. We're not doing airbrush, so we're not gonna use any masking right now. So let's pick a little. Let's choose here. I'm gonna go with. This could be a good choice here. Let me see. Actually, right now it's just preference, guys. You can choose whatever you'd like. I think I'm gonna go with this guy right here to start with, putting paint down on this guy. So that's good. If this brush is not good enough, let's see if there's the size here. So you can see it's size 7 right there. See right here? So 7, okay? You don't have to buy this brand. Any brand works. Again, it doesn't have to be expensive. So what we do, so we put a little bit of paint there. So I'm gonna put a little bit of water like this. Not much, okay? Just put a little bit of water. Like sometimes like double the amount of paint. And then as far as for the flow enhancer, this guy, I like to do, you're gonna see with me here, like 1 or 2 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go 4 drops. See, this will last forever. I only use 4 little drops. Now what I'm gonna do is just mix it all up and see what it comes up to. It's very fine, and that's what I want. You don't want your paint to be too thick, because it will build up on the model and it will be hard to paint. So I put a little bit of water, a little bit of flow enhancer, And you can see here, look how watery it is, and it's fine. You don't want too thick. And that's why sometimes see my model and they say, did you really paint this with a brush? Because you have to take your time painting with a brush. So don't go crazy making your paint really, really thick, because you will create like lines and it will build up on your model, and then people will notice right away that you painted with a brush. But what we're trying to achieve here is like a nice finish. So go ahead and make it very watery. So let's start with his feet first. Let me put the brush down real quick. So looking at the model, everything below this line right here is silver from this what do we call the knee line here down is silver. So we're gonna start by doing that. I'm gonna try to put the camera here in an angle that you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a little bit of paint, and then we're gonna start putting it down very gently. You see, it may not do anything on the first 2 or 3 coats, but that's okay. Don't let it pull anywhere if you can help it. Always like run your brush. Just so you can make sure it doesn't pull. And see, I'm not worried about going over the line at this moment because the red will definitely cover it. And it's very thin. Okay, so my first coat here is very, very thin. Mix it all up here. Then you put it down gently. I think I may speed the video, and then when I have a nice tip or something that I can share, I'll just slow the video down. But I think I'll just speed up the video so it's not too boring for you guys. I don't know yet. We'll see. You find out when you're watching it. If it's sped up, it's because it got too boring, and it's easy for you guys to see that what I'm doing right now, it's not that complicated. Okay? So let's go ahead and paint the gloves. There you go. Very nice. It's easy, right? There's nothing to this. All you gotta do is just start putting that paint down. Here we go. Yeah, this part here is gray, so I can paint it. I can paint here on the lines. Right here is red, and this little side of the line is gray, so I mean silver. I keep saying gray, but I mean silver. I'm sorry. It's really, really, really hard to see right now, but there is a coat there. There is a little paint. Okay. All right. Let's do the other one now. The other side. Okay, so here you can see that we did the first coat, the first gray coat on it. I think that you probably can't see much, but there is a little difference between the two of them. On the first one, I didn't go as heavy, but the second one went a little bit heavier on the silver. But again, you don't want to go too thick, because if you go too thick right off the bat, you're gonna build up and it's gonna look sloppy. So gotta be patient. All right, guys. So you've seen me do the first coat, and then I just kept doing the same thing over and over. I think I've done maybe 5 or 6 coats actually, which is okay. You have to be patient. If you want a nice finish to look like it was airbrushed and not like those brush lines and that built up, you got to be patient. The interesting thing about this silver, I'm sorry, I want to say sorry for saying gray the whole time during the video. I meant to say silver. So I've been using silver. I just want to make clear, it's this Vallejo silver that I've been using this whole time. And I like it actually. I'm liking the way it's coming together. It takes a while to build up. And it's interesting because I primed the figure white. So it's hard for you to see very well the silver right now. But I think once we put the red down, it will give the nice contrast. Then you will be able to see the silver coming through. There are still like a few spotty areas with the silver that I need to go back and reapply the paint. But for the most part, it's coming out really nicely. I just wanted to touch base here at the end of the video and say that it is nice. This color will work. This silver will work. I'll do definitely a wash later. We'll do a little more detailing at the end of it all. But I just wanted to show you guys how it's coming along after a few coats. Again, you just have to keep trying, keep watching. Silver is tricky, I'll tell you that, because you gotta watch to see how it reflects with the light. And I've noticed that the light has been tricking me here and there, but you can see where it needs more paint, where it's good enough. So this was 5 to 6 coats at this moment. Let me try to give like some zoom so you can kind of see. I don't know if you can see very well, but you can kind of tell the white against the silver. It's hard to see, I'll tell you that. But once we put the red down, it'll look nice. But I like the finish. This silver finish is really, really nice. And it's looking good. I think once we do a wash, as I said, it'll look really, really nice, and it'll come together nicely, because that's kind of like what the character is, right? Silver and red. Let me give you guys a little 360, and then we're gonna call it for now, and I'll come back with you guys on the next video to apply the red. Again, the silver is in pretty solid. There are a few areas that can use a little bit more of silver, and we'll go back on that later. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy. Please send me any questions if you have any. And we'll see you on the next video. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying this video. I appreciate you all, and be safe, everyone. We'll see you on the next video. Probably putting the red on the Ultraman. Thank you so much, and we'll see you then. Bye now.